Hello and welcome to Find Your Inner Flavor. I am your host, Becky Schoenig, along with my co-host, Gregory Owens. We are the owners of SymBowl. We are a healthy lifestyle-focused restaurant. We're located in 3 locations in the St. Louis area: St. Charles, Chesterfield, and in Kirkwood, Missouri. And we want to take a quick opportunity to thank our sponsor for allowing us the opportunity to do these recordings here at the Gaslight. Nationwide Processing. If you've been to any of the music festivals out in the St. Louis area, we always say the strip clubs too, because there's always an ATM machine there, although I don't know if Nationwide owns those.
But you know what we're talking about. The cash only sort of venue that you need cash and, well, there's an ATM for you.
And Nationwide Processing, the reason we love working with them is because they value that cash for a small business owner, knowing that with credit card processing, you always have those extra fees in there. And with cash, the business owner makes 100% of that profit coming in and not having to pay the credit card fees.
Yeah.
So thank you to Rusty and Nationwide Processing for making this opportunity possible. So we're going to delve into the first episode that we're recording today here, and our guest is Stacey Hackman. She's almost became part of the SymBowl family.
They all know her.
Everybody knows her.
Your I think cousin Stacey is what Wes calls you at St. Charles. Your cousin Stacey's here.
I do have a nickname.
Yeah, cousin Stacey.
Okay.
Cousin Stacey.
Because you obviously
Not
have...
crazy aunt.
No.
Not
yet.
yet. Crazy.
Yeah,
you haven't gotten crazy.
We haven't seen that
You haven't
side
gotten the
yet.
crazy
We'll get
label
there,
yet.
I'm sure.
But Stacey's background and how we kind of brought her in. One, we've been acquaintances for a long time because we have a mutual friend, very good mutual friend that we're both good friends with.
And you throw shit up on Facebook a lot.
And
So-
you've been really open about your story. You had gastric bypass surgery. It was 2011, or you had lap band surgery. I'm sorry. Lap band surgery in 2011. And then it failed. What year did?
I had it for 5 years, and then the lap band eroded, so I had emergency surgery, had it removed.
And how many surgeries have you had since, in what period of time?
And then 5 more in the past year.
So every time you would go into a surgery, you would, or oftentimes I would see you on Facebook posting different things about where you were going to eat, what you were eating, all that. Slowly just watching and observing, not really, I would not say in a judgment format. However, I did see things that were like, I was like concerned and worried more so because I was seeing, and I didn't know your whole story, but I was seeing somebody who was, in my mind, slowly almost killing themselves. And then there was all of these friends that were supporting you, like along the way. And then Greg would talk about the recipes that you would post, and
They photograph well, but man, they're shitstorms.
lots of cream cheese.
Yeah, like, hey, how can we make this even worse for you? Okay, let's put some more of that on there.
So when we brought you on, you had just gotten out of surgery. You had posted something on Facebook that Sonic was doing 50-cent grilled cheese sandwiches.
Yep. Sonic killed it. That was it.
And I said,
was a
you're
straw.
worth more than, I typed in, I said, you're worth more than a 50-cent grilled cheese sandwich. And then you kind of came back around and you were like, but I need to introduce
Bread.
You need to
see if I
introduce
could tolerate
salads
bread.
into your diet. And I'm like going, okay, but this is all plastic. Like, and you then said, I don't know. So what do I do? And Greg and I both looked at each other and we said,
I said, let's get this
He
sorted.
said.
I said.
he said, let's just feed her. Let's feed her. So we brought you into our restaurant. We sat down. We talked about everything that you were going through, and we tried to figure out a plan. And in that interim, we found a team of people that kind of came on, because I knew that it was more than just us. We needed the mental side, which Danielle LeBeau with So Happy, what is her?
So Happy Health.
So Happy Health is helping you on that side. Jason Shermato, who was on a previous recording of ours, is a chiropractor helping you. Dr. Olivia and Wellness Solutions came on and they did the blood lab work on you. So we have everything out there, and then we start working with you.
Yeah. Well, and I'll interject. In all this, what has been harder? Knowing that you're going under and having a surgery, or trying to listen to us?
Definitely changing my lifestyle, working with you guys is a lot harder, for sure.
Okay. So kudos to you for doing it, I guess. I mean,
But what did the
why?
doctors say?
Yeah.
What did the doctors say to you after this last surgery?
Basically, after the last surgery, it was just don't have anything carbonated, nothing spicy, and but you can have just about anything you want. Just work your way up from liquids to soft foods until you progress up back to full.
So no
They
doctor,
didn't give you a nutritionist, a dietitian.
No.
not from the time that you went into for consultation for the lap band
Basically,
throughout anything.
when you do a bariatric surgery, obviously they want you on a balanced diet. Protein is always first. Make sure you get protein in, vegetables, and then everything else. But there's no limitation to how you received those proteins or carbs or anything like that. You can have whatever you want, just make sure protein's first.
Okay, and you also said that you were different. You were more unique than a lot of people out there after surgery, correct?
Yeah, basically after all these surgeries, with rerouting of the intestines and everything they've done, leak infection with, nicking the esophagus and things like that. So internally, it's a mess in there. So absorption of nutrients and supplements and stuff is harder.
But right after the lap band surgery, they say you're probably only going to be able to eat so much food, and you were never really in that, correct? Like
So as far as portion control, it worked in that sense, but my body never had any consequences to any other kinds of foods. A lot of people after bariatric surgery are intolerant to bread or pasta or different things, red meat, different things. I never had any consequences to eating those things. When I tried to introduce them back into my diet, they didn't bother me. So it was easy to fall back into old habits since I could have it and not feel bad about it.
and nobody ever educated you on what nutritional value you're getting from any foods out there.
Right.
So when we sat down and talked to you the very first time, we learned a lot of your history and background, and part of that was you didn't like textures of different foods, such as hamburger. She doesn't like ground meats of any kind. Vegetables were almost non-existent unless it had a cheese sauce or something on it. And sugar was very predominant
Yes.
in a lot of the things that you were eating.
So in
one-
a lot of respects, you're just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably well over half the country.
Yeah, and I will say, there's a blessing to you kind of coming to us and us working with you, because it's opened our eyes to other opportunities and kind of looking at things to go, okay, who else is falling in this boat and how can we help? By helping you, we can create some protocols
definitely
and
helps.
different things. Yeah.
Definitely caused me to reflect and what can we do differently for the restaurant, for the sauces, or how can you make eating healthy or healthier not only more attractive but more the norm.
Well, and what we recognize and realize is that it's creating things that taste very similar, so you're not feeling like you're missing out on anything. So let's talk about what you've been doing diet-wise and some of the things that you've learned through some of the people that, so Dr. Olivia was one of the first people we had you going to. So explain to us what she did and what you learned from that.
So Dr. Olivia, we did some blood work and found that low on B12, vitamin D. She prescribed me some powder that actually coats the esophagus and stomach. So when I take these supplements, my body will retain them better. Vitamin D drops and B12 pills. I'm taking those twice a day. Just, kind of put me on a autoimmune paleo diet to follow. So after we did that detox, that 5-day detox, I've been following the paleo way this month.
Okay.
Strictly.
So we created a juicing detox, which is what we called our restart program. And we created it very much for you. And then we've opened that up for other people to start using. But it really helped get you focused, is what I like to say, and conscious about it. And that was a
huge for you.
Yes.
big thing for you because one, you don't like vegetables that much. Two, now you're drinking them almost all day long.
Yes.
So, but what was your motivation to get through those 5 days?
Since the last surgery, I was told that I won't survive another stomach surgery. So in order to make sure that I'm still healing and being healthy inside, so I don't have to worry about hopefully having another surgery, and just changing everything and hopefully, working on myself on the inside and keeping it that way.
Okay, so the second person that came into play was Danielle LeBeau, because we knew there was a lot we had to help you with on the mental side, how you view yourself, how you think of yourself, all of that. What have you learned and what approach has she been taking with you?
Danielle has a little bit different approach than the food with you guys. Sometimes it's okay to have certain things, but just get past it and continue on. She's helped a lot with the sessions that we've had, with just kind of discussing how I'm feeling and how to get around those, and hopefully, better myself, and just continue on and try to be better each day.
And Danielle's approach, and I loved it. And then when we brought Danielle on to work with you, I thought she was an absolute perfect fit. And we have been approaching you a little bit differently than Danielle typically would with a lot of her clients, because for you, it really is almost a life or death situation. If your diet is not starting to change, you risk something else going wrong quickly. So that was a shift for Danielle and us saying, okay, but this is why we're doing this. Danielle's approach really is about self-love first, before ever shifting and changing the way you eat. And she's been really good for us in having conversations as well. So Jason Sharamato was your third person that we then connected you with. And what was he discovering? What did you learn from Jason?
So actually, a couple days ago, I met with Jason, and we did some food sensitivity testing. Found out some reactions.
How was that for you? Have you ever experienced anything like that?
No, and I thought that was all just a bunch of,
The kinesiology?
yes.
Because he does kinesiology. Is that what it is?
I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Muscle testing.
Yeah.
And anyone watching this, probably most people watching this, get that. The first time I experienced it was my first job out of culinary school, working for basically that style of doctor, 20-something years ago. And I'm skeptic. I'm a cynic. I've been an old man forever. It is so weird how it works. And you think, oh no, and then you realize, oh, that really is true. And it's a little creepy. At least for me, I thought it was super damn weird. It's like, there's no freaking way that this is hocus pocus bullshit. And then you're like, oh, that's kind of.
So what did you learn?
Almost
What
scary.
did he? What was found while he did that testing for you?
So it was weird. You just put some powder on your tongue, and you don't swallow it. You just kind of taste it while he tries to move your arms and your legs different ways. And it is weird because at first I was like, when you put your arm up and he's like, I'm going to push it forward and don't let me. And you're like, there's no way he's going to be able to do that. And it's weird, like several attempts with different things, how your body does like actually let somebody maneuver it. So we tested for wheat or gluten, which is bad for me. I know. Surprise, huh? We tested for milk and eggs, which is okay, and corn, which is okay, and then nightshades were bad.
Okay.
So
the AIP
is a good start for
is
you.
a good start, and that's eliminating the nightshade. Explain what the nightshades are.
So nightshades, peppers, tomatoes, eggplant usually fall in that category. Those are the big boys.
And a lot of the times when you're following the AIP, they're eliminating the eggs out of there too. And you're
Eggs.
not, what Jason recognized with you is that you're not allergic to the eggs. So that's
Eggs,
not an
eggs are
effect.
usually a 50-50.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's whites only, sometimes it's yolks only. Because, we think of an egg as an egg, but actually the white and the yolk are quite different in what they're made of.
So what you've already learned in probably, I would say, the 30 days that we were working with you about 30 days before we brought the team in, and then you've worked with the team for about 30 days. What have you learned? In those 30 days, what have you learned about you and food and what you're doing?
So I'm a very social person, and I've always got food in those social interactions. It's been very tough to be out with my friends and not be around food. I know I've kind of shut down and quit hanging out so much with my friends or accepting invitations to go places just because that temptation is there, and I feel like I'm not quite there to be able to resist it yet. So, because it is hard for me, it's hard to sit there and watch somebody eat their pizza or their nachos and
Or their
ice cream
Taco Bell
or-
nacho fries.
yes, and not have some, or just simply go and get an ice cream or anything like that. And it's amazing, like the things that you think were healthy that you were eating aren't.
So like, what would you say were things that you thought were healthy that are not healthy for you?
Just like if you try to eat a salad, you're like, oh, this is healthy stuff. But in reality, there's tons of ranch on it and croutons and everything else that's bad for you, like that doesn't make the salad healthy. Or different protein bars or different things that I was looking at that I picked out and, hey, look what I found. And you're
You
like,
got your hand
no.
slapped.
Had you ever read a label? Had you ever read a label
The back of a
prior to
label.
this? Yeah, to look at ingredients and all that. Had you ever done that?
Not really as far as what this contains. So like we said, stay away from soy. I've never really had to look to see this contains soy.
And it's hidden too, is the kicker as well. It shows up in odd places.
I mean, depending on what kind of diet I was doing at the time, am I looking for fats? Am I looking for carbs? Am I looking, that's, you just kind of glance and look.
So,
to see.
you basically, you're, well, like all of us really, do you have too much information thrown at you or is it changed? Because I know, well, you're roughly you are our age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, eggs were incredible and then they were bad. And then there was the, high carb pasta diet. And then there's now gluten's the devil. Low fat was everything, then low sugar. And then now we need high fiber. Now we need whole grains, but it shifts so much. Mm-hmm. And the marketing is so strong. Well, we have some different things to talk about that way, but I think so many people look at the front of the product and not flip it over and look at the backside to see what's in it. And the front is compelling. Mm-hmm. I mean, they know how to trigger us.
I can say
want stuff.
for myself, I did the restart cleanse right after you did it. I did it for 4 days. And for me, it was about, okay, I'm super conscious about what I'm eating. I noticed for those 4 days how quickly I would have wanted to go grab something and didn't. But then ever since, I've been eating super, super clean for the most part. And I went to the grocery store. And even as somebody who has a lot of knowledge and information, I am not always super conscious. And this last time that I went, I looked at everything. And it was interesting because as I'm looking at the ingredients, and sugar and gluten have been the two that I have pretty much completely eliminated since doing the restart. And sugar is in everything. And you're discovering that too. It's like, what do you mean? I can't have this? There was sugar in a ham. I mean, there's sugar in all kinds of, it was like, there is nothing, you're questioning what's actually real food anymore.
Right.
So what are you eating? What have you been eating since making these changes?
So I've been really sticking basically with your guys' restaurant. I know I can walk in there and whatever I order is going to be safe for me to have. So it's still a little scary to go out on my own and kind of pick things. That's why I'm always sending you pictures or, or things like that and how you feel about certain things. And
Yeah, I'll try and be a little bit faster on the response. It's technology. Ugh. Don't
You know,
Facebook.
just
Never,
as simple
never
as,
Facebook.
as walking through the Whole Food store and taking samples of their little protein bites and stuff like that. And I tried one, and then I looked at the back of the label, and I was
You're
like, oh.
no wonder it tastes so damn good.
Right, right.
So,
No wonder I'd
yeah,
buy
I mean,
these.
I don't know if I've given you the spiel, but when I was teaching, I mean, there are real reasons why we like that. And if you think about it, it's really only in the last 2 generations, really 70 years or so, that we've been able to eat the way we do. But, you know, fat is desired by us because it's got tons of calories. And, you know, where would you get fat if you had to go and just like get it yourself, not off the, you have to kill an animal, nuts maybe. You know, it's not like super available in nature. Protein isn't either. You know, again, you have to hunt down and pretty much kill an animal and eat it and all that good stuff. Salt, we like salty things because we need salt. But again, you know, I would tell my kids, you know, the zombie apocalypse, when it happens, where the hell are you getting salt from? You know, there are a couple places in Missouri, but it's not like it's easy to get. Carbs, the body likes carbs because it takes almost nothing to get energy out of. And in the past 70 years, we've processed our food so much, and it's so abundant, especially for us in this country, that we're, you know, to get, you know, this much, you know, fat 100 years ago would have taken you a month. You can go and just buy it in a bottle, so, literally in a bottle, and chug it on your way to work. There's
That sounds really tasty.
well, yeah. But there's we've made food cheap, and we've now are viewing food as cheap, whereas it was something that was a struggle and was a value and was something precious, and we've really stripped that away. And
And we've been over-consuming. We've been over-consuming ever since all of that has.
The mega corps, and I'm a capitalist. I believe in free market and all that, but we're sheep, and they've just been feeding us and this misinformation and making money off it. And all of a sudden we go and you go to Whole Foods, which is, oh my God, it's the natural place. And
So one of the things that you had said is struggling with the social aspect of things. And I also had you do the 5 love language questionnaire.
Yeah.
And quality time was your number 1. Mm-hmm. And what was your number 2? Was
acts of service?
No, I think it was
wasn't it?
affirmations, or I think it was, I don't remember.
came-
Anyway,
This was passed yesterday, so.
Yeah, you were, I think it was like
But
that
my-
needy bitch sort of
but
thing.
my-
I am a needy bitch.
I needed affirmation. I think you're right. It was affirmation.
affirmations, I believe,
Yeah.
was number 2. But what that indicates is that you value time with friends, time with family, and you also view, if I don't eat their food, I'm saying I don't love you, I don't
Or if you're not
appreciate you.
participating
Yes,
in
I'm not
the
sharing the experience
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. So you have had to take the
a little
approach.
double whammy.
Yeah. You have had to take the approach that this is an addiction. Like there is a serious addiction, and pull yourself out of different circumstances, which then almost in some ways we're worried and concerned, are you becoming depressed because of it? What's your take on that? Are you?
Well, it does get a little depressing when you're used to being out there and being around people and doing things, and now you're sitting at home more and trying to avoid those situations. So it does kind of take a toll after a while, but hopefully it gets better, as everyone says. So hopefully before long I can start to find better workarounds and ways to get past this and be back with everybody.
So are they supporting you on this journey? Because you don't drink either, but you're, as far as I know, you're around people that indulge. Why is that okay for you? How can you? Because obviously that's a communal thing too.
It is, I guess, with
Is that more acceptable to not be a drinker?
maybe I still get a lot of people trying to get me to drink with them. It's a little bit easier to say no to that, since I would prefer to eat food versus drinking anyway.
Gotcha.
So it's harder to say no to.
And I think
Food.
that's what we've talked about in the past. All of her vices have been taken away.
Right.
When she had the surgery, the drinking part
Went
was
away.
taken away. But then she always had the food that kept you involved. Now it's kind of like we've taken the food out of the way, and you're going, what do I do?
Just sit there.
But what you have been doing, and so we've been working on all of these aspects. You're eating things that you've never ate before.
This is the most fruits and vegetables these last 2 months, and I've had my whole 42 years of my life. So,
And are your taste buds changing? Are you
Yeah.
seeing that you like things more? Are you seeing that that's like,
it's still a little hard. I'm still not mentally like, oh, zucchini noodles, can't wait.
How about raw carrot? Would you like
You and
a-
that carrot, you're killing
I'm
me
gonna,
with
you're
carrots.
gonna, yep. Every damn time, you're gonna have a carrot in there.
Yes.
okay,
Raw.
so one of the things that we had also done when we put you on this, and we had to create some boundaries and rules, and that was a 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing. One, we've been trying to get you to shift from this is a diet to this is a lifestyle change, to get you out of that mentality, because a diet is always temporary and a lifestyle is for life. And that's what I think Danielle is working with. I know one of the things that Jason has been saying is we need to figure out how to balance your blood sugar. I don't know if you knew this, the 4 of us all came together last week.
And we talked about
And we
you.
talked about you. And we kind of did a recap, what everybody had discovered and found out, and identifying we've gotten through the first 30 days with your whole team. We've committed to 90 days with you. Yes. And the question is, what do we do moving into February differently? Or do we keep it the same? So we claimed January. What was it that we claimed January to be? It was all limitations and boundaries or something like that. Rules. It was about rules and limitations.
Yeah.
So February, are you excited
Dun, dun,
to
dun,
find
dun.
out? And
I am.
February is your birthday month.
Oh,
Yes,
birthday
yes.
month.
So February, we're taking a new angle and a new approach.
Greg, you're making that carrot cake I was talking about for my birthday, right?
Though I can make a carrot cake that's
So-
somewhat
I
acceptable.
mean, you're forcing me with these carrots anyway. You might as well.
So
Doesn't work that way.
February is all about love and knowledge. So the way the game changes in February for you is we're wondering and questioning, is she doing this and making these changes for her or because we've all been saying, you need to do this or 3 strikes and you're out. So February, we let go of all the rules. There's no limitations. You can choose whatever it is that you want to choose. And you also need to gain the knowledge and understanding. So this is about you now. This is about you. Our hopes is that you get more and more information. So cheese, if you want cheese, you can eat cheese. However, learn what cheese is, learn what cheese does to you, and the journaling aspect still has to stay.
So
Okay.
you were showing me some others, like some chips or some other stuff that you, and the one thing I'm going to ask is that when you choose something to eat, that, like she said, you know what is actually what it is, and then just really try and pay attention, because the only way we're going to know is if you're listening to yourself. And if it's too complicated, like that one chip, there was like 20 million things in it. Well, if all of a sudden you don't feel well, what the hell was it? Take an opportunity to really get in touch with food and you.
So one of the things that
choose something that's you really have desired,
right.
and don't gorge. That's never good, because no matter what, you'll get sick. But eat it, and then really, is it good? Is it worth it?
But this is where the journaling becomes
absolutely.
really, you've got to dive into the journaling aspect of it way more so than you have. In regards to, I would encourage you to take pictures of any labels that it is that you're buying. And then journal down what it is that you're eating, what you're choosing. So you start either choosing to embrace this for you, or it will never stick. So our goal is one of the things that Greg has agreed to do is help educate you more on how do you balance your blood
And
sugars.
We'll go on a date night to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You've been waiting for that.
That's right.
Greg's going to take
I
you to the
love
grocery
grocery
store.
stores.
And Lacey, Lacey Nicole has agreed to take you out to eat. So she's going to take you out for lunch.
Because she's been
And-
living her own lifestyle due to dietary stuff. And she was probably the first person that really helped guide us even.
Yeah.
6 years ago. She's very good at being able to maneuver. She has two kids. She's recently remarried, so I mean she has a normal life, but she knows how to steer herself. Because I mean, I think for her it almost is the same for you. She'll get really ill if she doesn't watch what she eats.
Well, and you made that suggestion to reach out to make new friends that are having the same goals.
My
and
take
things.
is if the majority of your friends you've had for 30 years and you graduated with them, how many T-shirts do you have that you've owned for 30 years? You usually have to replace some of them.
I have underwear that I've had for 30 years. Does that count?
Yeah. So
No, your friends should support you.
Yeah.
Do they need to understand? No, doesn't make. I mean,
they
shit.
should. You want?
I'm friends with her, and I don't get half the shit that comes out of her mouth. So I mean,
It's kind of like as you grow and learn and elevate to the next level of whether it be money, whether it be mental attitude, whether it be food, motivation, whatever, your friends should be in alignment or a few steps ahead of you.
Yeah, and it's hard with the friends that you have that's not in this, not understanding exactly what you need.
Right.
So it's more of a hassle. You feel like you have to be accommodated to, and
that's okay.
Well, I think the thing is
Yeah,
that
be
as you
accommodated
move through
Why
this,
not?
you should feel empowered and in a position of this is who I am and this is what I do, and I don't really give a fuck what you think. I mean, that's really the reality in any shift and change is when you know who you are and when you know where you're going and what you're doing. And it's not a fuck you, I don't care about you. It's I'm worth it. And it doesn't
I
affect
think
you
the
as
more we
much.
can work through stuff, you'll find that it's not impossible. You can go out to eat and you can find things
Yeah.
and more places are slowly realizing that they need to have alternatives. When I first started cooking, it was the grilled vegetable plate was the only vegetarian thing. We would cringe when someone came in who was a vegetarian. Even back then, it bothered me. It's like, why don't we just have a couple things that we know we can do that are actually not some shitty grilled vegetable plate? Recognizing that there should always be a way for pretty much everybody to eat together.
well, that's like the restaurant that I was working at in the kitchen. There was 3 different types of fried fish on the menu. And they were kind of questioning, well, maybe we should just drop it down to 1 or 2 types of fish instead of 3. And I'm like, how about we make a grilled,
Oh,
as an option?
that
So
sounds
3
like you're
fried.
educated or something. But
Yeah, but that
But
would,
nobody thinks about that.
no.
and that's a simple. I mean, that's a simple change. Okay, we'll grill one. Yeah, but people don't. They don't think about it. I think it's because we're so streamlined. We're so on the tracks that society and food corps and government and all those people are pushing us down this track. We don't tend to not look outside and see what are other options.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. If you were to
This-
give,
she has
if
a
you were to
bad look on
give
her.
somebody who was in the same boat you're in 3 words of advice, what would you say?
Patience, because it's taken a lot of patience. Just knowledge, got to have the knowledge, and hope that it's going to get better, hope that it's going to get easier, and hope that you get the support and make it through and can change and make it a lifestyle.
So what's one of your goals in the end of these 90 days, what would you say is one of your goals that you want to walk away at the end of the 90 days that we're all kind of supporting and working with you? What's something that you hope you walk away with feeling different or doing differently than you did prior?
I would like to be able to walk into a store and know what foods that I can get and not have to sit there and read labels and wonder and question and be able to make the good choices at all times.
So that sounds like empowerment. So you want to feel more empowered. Have you stepped on a scale in any of this time frame so far?
I did right before we got started,
Okay.
and then I did a couple days ago.
Okay. What'd you learn?
That I have not lost weight
Okay.
in the 2 months.
Okay, so how does that make you feel?
It's a little aggravating. You automatically assume if you're eating healthy, you should automatically be losing weight, right? If you're not having cheesecake and Twinkies, why am I not losing weight?
How much are you working out?
Just recently, this past month, just kind of taking some exercise classes.
You're doing
but
belly
nothing.
dancing, right? Okay. So that's kind of one of the debunkers in all of this. One, we don't focus on weight. When we started working with you, and we have never talked about weight. We have never put
the
that out
first time
there
I've
as
heard
a
it.
goal.
Yeah.
In fact, Danielle's big approach to it is you don't step on a scale. It's about identifying self-love and self-respect. The second thing is that I totally lost my train of thought where I was going with it.
But no, you said in the beginning.
When you start looking at this, you think you're doing all of these things right, but you're not feeling like you're getting rewarded, which is where the weight part of it comes into play.
Right. I need that physical reward that I'm seeing. Otherwise, why am I not eating the cheesecake? Because it's not making a difference physically.
So for me,
you can't tell.
my side of things is I am very well aware when I start eating and going into really bad eating habits, I feel just bloated. My head goes into a fog. I'm a little bit more depressed, anxious, more aggravated, more easily agitated. I'm aware of those aspects of things, and I know that's my first trigger. And I wasn't always like that. That wasn't always my go-to thing. For somebody who can eat who typically eats fairly healthy, like myself, but then goes through a few months of over-consuming, overindulging because life just gets in the way, I recognize that cycle going back, and I can recognize then when I start coming back around. We're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. But for me, it's about the feelings. The weight becomes a secondary. The weight will never change unless you move. You can hold it and not gain more. Does that make sense?
Right.
But however many calories you're intaking, if you're not burning more than what you're intaking, nothing's really going to shift.
It's the health and the fitness and the mindset and just the overall well-being that changes with diet.
Yeah.
And they're not separate things. They're intermingled. You could work out like crazy, but then if you eat like shit, okay, maybe you might be quote unquote fit, but internally what's going on, mentally what's going on.
And I think that's with the
And it's nothing
bariatric
fast.
surgery, having that, lost 160 pounds, kept it off for 5 years. But after that 5 years, I was still just eating whatever I wanted, but still I was skinny. And now that that's gone, I don't have that device in me saying stop eating, no matter what you're eating, but stop.
Yeah.
Now I've gained all this weight back. And so it's frustrating because you just figure, all right, so I'm eating all this good food. I should have that kind of reward.
So we want
But
to
slow.
acknowledge you.
Well-
We want to acknowledge you because you have stepped out of your comfort zone and
Big
you've
time.
done really, really well in the past 2 months.
Encouraging.
Yeah.
It's
We also we appreciate you sharing your story, and we're going to continue sharing it more and more on your journey, because whether you've had the lap band surgery or not, you're not in much different situation than a lot of Americans out there. And a lot of that comes down to not educated on where your food comes from, how food works within you personally and how to make the right decisions for yourself. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode of Find Your Inner Flavor up. Thank you for joining us today.
Miss Stacey.
Again, my name is Becky Schoenig, my
Greg.
partner in crime, Gregory Owens. We are the co-owners in SymBowl. We're located in St. Charles, Chesterfield, and in Kirkwood, Missouri. We are experts, we like to think, or if we're not experts, we're pulling those experts in
We didn't know just enough to be dangerous.
to continue educating ourselves and educating you guys out there as well. So we really do want to hear what it is that you want to hear from us and what other experts we can pull into this. Food is medicine in our philosophy. Not all healthy foods are good for everybody out there, and that's what we're kind of identifying and keying into. We've created a sauce line that we're getting ready to launch and promote, hopefully through a crowdfund here in February, and that is to help educate and bring whole foods into your home so that you know what is safe for you and for the rest of your family, and you enjoy the way that they taste as well. Again, thank you to Nationwide Processing for allowing us, being the sponsor, to bring us into the Gaslight for creating a creative and amazing space to do these podcasts out of. Matt with, oh my gosh.
Media Outlaws.
Media Outlaws. I just drew a mind break.
She's having a purple moment.
I know. I haven't had the whole one drink yet.
Clearly, I need to change the color.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mark back there doing our audio for us. Thank you,
hi, Mark.
everybody, for being a part of our team, and we will see you the next time.